You're watching TVP World. I'm Alex Cadier here in our studio in Brussels. The talk of the town this week has been Ukraine, funding Ukraine for its fight against Russia's invasion, that €90 billion loan being signed off after many months. But behind the scenes are different conversations, a conversation about the day after, reconstruction, investment. How do you bring Ukraine's economy back in the post-war era? A big question at a business forum, the Ukraine Business Forum here in Brussels. My guest today, Piotr Matczuk, was there. You are the head of the Polish Development Fund. A lot of big questions about how to fund Ukraine. Thank you for joining us. What's the mood like when it comes to investing in Ukraine and the reconstruction, and what are the conversations you heard today?
Well, thank you for having me, Alex. I think there was a lot of energy in the room, and the conference is actually about creating real business opportunities for both international partners and the Ukrainian partners when we still have the war ongoing in the country. So I think on one hand there is a lot of determination for the Ukrainian side to find interesting opportunities in terms of business to help them reconstruct after the war, but also to support their effort during the war.
There must be a risk factor though. These businesses may not want to go in straight away in an active conflict, in an active war. We've seen Polish businesses in Ukraine being hit in Russian strikes. How do you deal with that in those conversations? Do you have to mitigate against that risk, or is this a conversation more about post-war and therefore the assumption is that risks will be mitigated?
Well, the answer would be twofold in a way. So first of all, we do see a limited appetite for risk during the war, and that's a fact. You cannot really change it because the business appetite will likely very much increase when the war is over. But until then, we are actually happy to support any interesting business effort going into Ukraine with the all strength of the Polish development institutions. And for this purpose, we created the Team Poland for Ukraine initiative that was launched last year in Rome.
Walk me through that initiative. How does it work? Who is it open to? For viewers who might not have heard of it before,
yes.
What is that? What is Team Poland Initiative for Ukraine?
So essentially, Team Poland is a concept that brings together all of the products to one platform, all products that are offered by the developmental institution to one platform in a sort of one-stop and shop fashion. So it's much easier to deal with us and a myriad of the products that we offer when you've got like a material business opportunity. This is, as I said, a platform that is facilitating contact with us, and essentially we've been active since last year in this formula, and we supported 7 transactions of different types. There were equity transactions on one hand, so we supported a company that actually acquired a number of smaller companies in Ukraine that came from Poland, as well as we helped to insure some business in Ukraine to help it continue during the wartime.
And this is just open to Polish businesses. This is is it just for Polish businesses looking into Ukraine, or is there a broader scope here?
This is a very good question. So for us, I represent the sort of Polish development system here. So for us, the Polish element is essential. So we need to have it both ways. Although I have to say that we are very flexible in offering our products with this element embedded. So on one hand, we can help a Polish company to invest in Ukraine in different sorts of and different formats, and we can support with all types of products like debt financing, equity financing, or insurance of different types of risks. On the other hand, we can very gladly work with the Ukrainian sponsor in Poland, offering better investment opportunities in terms of location, taxation, and then a range of products that we can use in Poland with the Ukrainian sponsor.
Let's look at that post-war environment. The kind of reconstruction in and of itself will be a huge investment, perhaps a huge opportunity. What are the opportunities out there? What are the kind of top priority areas for businesses who might be interested that you are seeing as the next frontier of investment in that direction?
Well, it's very well summarized every year by the World Bank Group report, and you've got also a count of the investment that is needed to restructure the country to a better shape, because we never talk about sort of about reconstruction to the situation as it was, but to that of the let's say the fashion we would like to have in the future. So for the Polish companies, I think the opportunities are especially in the construction sector. I may not be sort of an inventor of this idea here, but I very much believe that because of the proximity and understanding of the local market, we can play an important role over there. Poland is in general very important for Ukraine in terms of logistics. Rzeszów traditionally, which is by the way hosting the next event from the URC series in 3 days, I think, is a very important logistic hub for goods coming into Ukraine. But I also see a lot of opportunities in terms of manufacturing, production. Poland is now a manufacturing powerhouse in Europe. We've got a lot of capabilities, we've got a lot of skill set, and we need to utilize it in Ukraine.
There's an argument that could be made that actually you're directing investment into Ukraine, you're going to boost the Ukrainian economy after the war, it's going to become more competitive, better than it was, as you've just described it. Aren't you actually creating unfair competition for Polish businesses? Actually, this is going to backfire and maybe hurt Polish businesses.
Well, I'm a fan of synergies, so I do think that actually it, like bringing good to the economy that is neighboring Poland, and it's got extensive exchange with the Polish economy, can be actually done for the good of both countries. So in this way, we see the initiative that we launched last year, the Team Poland that we just mentioned, that it will actually bring JV opportunities as well. So both Polish element and Ukrainian element can fit together and work together.
Others will want to muscle into these opportunities. It's not just going to be Poland. You can imagine the United States foundations, businesses will also be trying to tap into these markets. We've heard the argument actually made by the Polish foreign minister a number of times, saying, well, actually, most of the money going into Ukraine now, supporting Ukraine, is European. You're actually directing, investments for after. Are you concerned that actually this effort may be muscled out by others, or are you quite certain in the fact that European partners, including what you do, have quite a solid footing in Ukraine?
I think Ukraine is large enough actually to be fit for different types of investors from different countries, different geographies. And I don't think the European businesses will be completely ruled out of Ukraine. I think there is still a lot of room for European investors, and including Polish investors, to sort of materially contribute to development of the Ukrainian economy. I just very much believe that we need to start these conversations soon, and we need to have material solutions before we've got a material ceasefire or the end of a war, so that we are ready actually to deploy all of the projects in place.
Going even further and looking even further down into what the future of Ukraine might hold, of course, the Ukrainian government, no surprise here, pushing for membership of the European Union. Would that make things easier for you? Would that have a material impact on what you do? I think a lot of experts I've spoken to in Brussels think the idea of 2027 is maybe a little ambitious for membership of the European Union, but that is very much the ambition, the desire from Ukraine. Good for the EU, good for Ukraine, or is there a bit of mitigation there?
Well, I think that the future extension of the EU is a very interesting idea in a way that Ukraine, with its potential for production, for agriculture, may actually bring a lot to the EU. And I think this is a very good path that Ukraine is on right now towards the EU. I think it will not be immediate. But going to your first question, I very much think that potential sort of joining of the EU by Ukraine will open the trade and exchange a lot. I mean, Poland is a very good example how sort of plugging into the European value chains helped us grow and made us a leader of economic growth in the region. So this path is very much opened also to Ukraine in the future. And Poland would be happily advocate for this path.
Would you say to those who feel like perhaps pushing investment to Ukraine, or they would describe it perhaps as some favoritism, or actually why is Ukraine getting so much support? Why are we kind of sending investment from our country elsewhere? What's your argument against those feelings? If there are people who feel like actually we should be focusing on investment at home, or we should be focusing on people in Poland or elsewhere, it's not just unique to Poland.
Yes,
lots of different countries have that feeling. What's your pitch to them?
So we hear this argument quite often. I don't agree with this argument because of a very simple assumption. All of our support is not generated by ourselves. It is led by the entrepreneurs. So we just follow their path. So we just, in a way, make their decision easier to go abroad. And then we do see a lot of benefits from going abroad. It's actually diffusion, in a way, of innovation. And that's very often forgotten in this context, that if you have a branch or a sort of part of your company active abroad, and you decide to go from exports to capex, to capital investments abroad, this is a very serious decision. So you need to take certain measures on board. You need to hire people who talk the local language, who are able managers. You need to invest in terms of developing the structures. You need to figure out how it is done locally. You need to look at the competition. If you stay only in your home country, you will never see it. So our role is not to sort of sponsor that or lead that. We are complementary, so our activities are complementary in a way to an entrepreneur's decision. And I think there's a very fine distinction between that.
So that initial momentum is already there. You're
Exactly.
not kind of pushing investors through the door that they don't want to go through.
We always need to have a private partner. It can also be a public partner or a state-controlled, state-owned partner. We don't mind working with these companies, but they need to take the lead. So the decision needs to be there. And then the system of our institutions, the Team Poland, will kick in.
What are the challenges? We had the conversation about membership of the European Union. Ukraine is on a pretty steep path in the way that Poland was those many years ago in reforming and changing.
Yes.
Are there structural problems still in Ukraine that perhaps put people off, or things that you would like to see maybe improved or changed to actually, not necessarily as a critique, but actually this is how you do things better. This is how you would, encourage that momentum we were talking about. What can Ukraine do to maybe boost its standing after the war?
Of course, it will be much easier to discuss these issues when there is no war ongoing, and then you've got the economy that is actually free of war. Unfortunately, it is otherwise right now. However, two things I would like to draw your attention to. So the first one is the municipalities and the reform for municipalities that was done in Poland in very early 90s that actually very much succeeded to the Poland's growth path. In Ukraine, it is ongoing. It's not ready and completed yet, so that's ahead of us. The second thing is, I think, still Ukraine is not free of corruption. And this is, in the view of international investors, a serious impediment to invest quickly and move into the country swiftly.
Have you seen progress on that, or is there still a long way to go? How would you gauge that?
I think there is a good progress, and a number of partners is contributing towards that. The international organizations like the World Bank or the EBRD were actually, for a couple of years, involved in supporting the anti-corruption measures. So I think the economy is on the right path, but I think we are not in the sort of ideal state yet.
I like to end these interviews by giving our guests a crystal ball. And when it's a political conversation, I say, well, how do you see things in 6 months? With your line of work, I think it's probably a much longer prospect. What is that investment relationship like? What is that business relationship like? Poland, Ukraine in 10 years look like in your best case scenario? Because, of course, there are a lot of unknown that it would be a bit unfair for you to predict that much of the future. What does your best case scenario look like in 10 years?
Well, I'm not sure how to put it in numbers, but definitely Ukraine should partner Poland in terms of being the sort of the best growing part of Europe. and then the mutual partnership can evolve to a much more sort of also capital exchange, because capital, like local capital, is present on both sides, and then effective exchange can help us sort of build the value chains in sustainable transportation, in the energy sector. A lot of complementarities here. So I do see Ukraine as a very important part of the European communities, working closely with Poland as one of its closest business partners.
So perhaps in 10 years, a Polish-Ukrainian economic miracle to look forward to.
Let's think about that.
Piotr Matczuk, thank you so much for joining us. You're the head of the Polish Development Fund. Lots to think about, lots to unpack. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching at home. You've been watching me, Alex Cadier, here in Brussels on TVP World. More news and analysis after this.